I'm Dimitri. I'm the chief executive of Wellfit. And that's my story for now.
Hi guys, I'm Nikesh. People call me Nick. I'm the general manager at Wellfit JVC.
Hi, I'm Gareth Jones, Chief Operating Officer at Wellfit.
And another Gareth Bacon. I'm our Head of Member Experience Product and Digital Transformation.
Okay, amazing. Now, obviously we see from the back that you've won plenty of awards. You are really, really well known. I'm going to ask one important question that I've been wanting to ask as soon as I entered this door was like, how did the team come together? How did this form?
Go on, Dimitri, over to you.
That's to me. All right. I'm not actually employee number one. I came on board January 2021 after a strange series of coincidences that I might explain later, to find Mr. Gareth Jones already on board as the COO, and our Charu, our project manager. These gentlemen had been recruited, not with total clarity, by our mother company. We're financed by Arada. So think of us as a startup that's actually funded by another startup, a startup within a startup. And the mother startup, there's a term for you, is Arada, of which I'm sure you've heard a lot, especially in the news, a Sharjah-based property development firm that is growing explosively. And Gareth and the project manager were on board in order, in the first instance, to help Arada develop in community, within Arada communities, to develop a vertical, a fitness vertical. So Arada had a very innovative idea. It was this: we build communities for people to live a life that essentially goes from cradle to grave. Except, in order not to be morbid, Arada doesn't call it cradle to grave. They have a term for it. It's called connected living. And an essential pillar of that connected living is, healthy mind, healthy body kind of thing. So the idea is you get born in a clinic within the community, you go to kindergarten, you go to primary school, you end up going to secondary, university, you live your entire life there. What does your life comprise? Everything. It's food and beverage is embedded within that. Hospitality is embedded within that. Anything that comprises a happy, healthy life. And of course, that also means fitness, doesn't it? So Arada had the brainwave, well, we don't know fitness. Let's find some people who do know fitness. Let's get them on board. It wasn't known in those early days, will we develop our own brand? Are we perhaps just going to bring a franchise from abroad? Is it going to be a combination of the two? Are we going to do women's only? Are we going to do these things were murky. So when I walked in on that, I think it was January 7th, 2021, I found an enthusiastic but slightly agitated Mr. Gareth Jones. He was happy, I guess, to be joined by someone else. And we knew that something big was going to happen, but we did not know exactly what.
So you've always known each other?
Not at all. Handsome, tall gentleman is the first time I set eyes on him. I'd heard the name. I knew that there was a Gareth Jones working for Fitness First back in the day. I knew he was in the industry, heard of him. I knew he was a triathlete. That's it. I knew nothing else. So when we met, it was, hey, what are you doing here?
It was love at first sight.
Love at first sight.
And here we are.
Yeah, here we are. This is the thing. We did not know that this was what was going to happen. Something was going to happen, but we didn't know what.
Yeah, something big was going to happen.
My first mission was get the team on board. So in fact, the whole of 2021, there was no JVC. There was nothing. There was basically me spending Arada money recruiting people. And the first thing I did was recruit the best people in the industry. This is entrepreneurial venture number 2 for me in the fitness industry. I've done this very similar to this before. And I knew the guys, I knew the crew from back in the day. I got on the phone, I started calling people. And within the next 6 months, I recruited the HQ team. That was 10 of us. So that's how the leadership team came to be. Basically, people that either I knew or Gareth Jones knew. We called the very best, got 10 people together, and that was it. That was 2021.
The dream team. The birth of the dream team. You mentioned that also, like you didn't know what was to come. So how did you know who to look for? So for example, like Gareth, master in digitalization and digital transformation, how did you know that's what you needed? How did how did you identify it? Is it instinct? What was the leadership
It's a
behind
bit
this?
of both. My one was quite straight. It was funny because we've worked together for a bit, and then he dropped me a message on LinkedIn like, we want to come and look at your paddle court. At that time, no one was building paddle courts in clubs,
Yeah.
and I had one. And he was like, okay. Then we started talking, and I'm generally quite opinionated anyway. And,
Really? No.
and then we were chatting over a coffee. I remember it was the first time I met Dimitri, and I was just speaking like off my mind, like this is what I think, this is what I think. Little did I know that when they left that conversation, they were like, and then that's kind of how my story came about. And then a really good company, but I moved for the people, not necessarily for the brand. I knew that they were onto something special. It was a highly capable team. Gareth I'd known, I'd follow, and then when I met Dimitri, I was highly impressed. So there were blocks falling into place, and I was like, maybe this is something we should pursue.
Yeah.
That's how it happened. Yeah, for me, I think most people's stories are similar because
Yeah.
you follow people.
Yeah.
You know,
How about you?
Well, I think it kind of goes back to whenever we were originally sourcing what we wanted to put into the first club. So we went quite heavy with technology platforms then, and I think ultimately maybe the team were looking for somebody who knew how to activate them. I've worked with and known a number of tech platforms now, and not always had the ability to implement them in business through cost restrictions and whatnot. So to actually be able to be brought into this organisation whereby they were already there was just a real easy sort of starting point for us.
Yeah. Which is probably a lot of the challenges that's happening right now across all industries.
Yeah, it was funny because Dimitri introduced me to Gareth. We had an interview in Marks and Spencer's in Dubai Festival City, and we hit it off, and I had a mind map that was in my mind but on paper about how we wanted to create this digital product experience, operation, signature classes, and then kind of I introduced Dimitri to Nikesh, so it's kind of been very interlinked between how we brought, I think, the kind of new kids on the block to the old kids on the block, and it's quite magical.
I mean, if you think about it, most of the original crew are people that either I know or Gareth Jones knows. I'm not exaggerating or flattering these guys, but we called the very best people. So I knew if I get Mr. Gareth Bacon on the phone, I convince him to give up he had a good job with one of the best operators in the land, and his future was looking very bright indeed. But I guess he saw something. He saw something of where this could go, and he was brave enough to jump ship and join us. And I just knew that the moment he joins and you say, I had a fairly good inkling of what he would like to do and wasn't able to do in his previous role. So I thought, let this guy carve out a role of his own, because I know his proclivities and I know what he's good at. And lo and behold, here he is. I mean, he's of Gareth Bacon, I think it's fair to say, he has invented his own role in large measure. And that's what he needs to do in his role. He needs to be inventing stuff that hasn't been done before.
And I think when you're putting a team together, you want to be looking at the opposite to you as well. You want to be looking at strengths and weaknesses that you have, you don't have, that someone can complement. You don't want to recruit robots that the four of us are all the same. We're all completely different experiences, strengths, weaknesses, and I think it just really complements. And I think these two guys are big hitters for the future. So we're very lucky to have them.
And having said that, we've been, credit to them, allowed to run. You don't find that a lot with C-level people who are allowed to do things. So for me, the big thing was allowing us to, I wanted to set the culture in club. It was very big, close to my heart, and the value system and all of that sort of stuff. Because you get that right, you get half of it. They didn't interfere at all. And then you don't find this a lot, so super sleek operational framework, and Gareth was like, go do it. I think it's missing from the industry, and not just from our industry, but in business a lot. Empathy doesn't have to mean sympathy, and we've all been at some point, like many people, we've been burnt by the industry at some point. And so we wanted to do things different. Everything that we want to do is different. We want to set the culture different. We want to be very transparent. We want to make sure that we are, like when we bring on people, it's very people-driven, high independence of roles, and I think that's what makes us different. Every role is different. We don't want to be. We've tried to make the GM role different, the C-level team different, his role different.
Yeah.
I think we're onto something for sure.
For sure, yeah. So let's talk about Wellfit. Okay.
Oh yeah.
How did the name come? How did the concept come together? And like 2021, now it's 2023. It's become such a strong brand. So how did you find that identity?
This concept has been in my head for very many years. So now how it telepathically and completely serendipitously coexisted in the brain of Gareth Jones is interesting. I don't know. I mean, I know what I had in my head, but then we met and I discovered what I had in mind is exactly what Gareth Jones had in mind. And I'll just summarize by saying this. I'll tell you what we did not want to do. And we wouldn't have even accepted the job. We were not in this game to just do another gym. We have no appetite and no interest in just doing the same old thing and differentiating only by virtue of positioning. So for example, you could say, am I going to be a fitness first and I'm positioned here, or maybe I'm going to be, and I'm just naming all the players here, I'm not picking anyone, and you have your gymnasium there, and then a pure gym comes somewhere else, and every once in a while you hear about a new market entry, and it's another gym operator. Nothing wrong with being another gym operator, it's just not who we are, and not what we were interested in doing. We had in mind other international benchmarks. They don't even exist here. They exist elsewhere in the world, in the United States, they exist in Europe. We didn't want to copy paste them, but we were inspired by other models that have not really been implemented in this part of the world at the level where we would like to implement them. I mean world class. I'm not just saying this as a gimmick, world class. I mean the real McCoy. So that was it was a ready born idea. Where we got lucky was that Arada's senior leadership pretty much had the same kind of idea in mind. So there was no conflict, there was no, we're looking for someone to start yet another gym operation. No, it was, we're looking for someone to come and do something entirely new, completely innovative, something that's going to establish a complete wow effect. Like, look at all these guys, you know. So the stars aligned is all I can tell you, and that's genuine. That what Arada had putatively in mind without anything specific, because they were even thinking maybe they franchised something initially. But by the time we came on board, I discovered, hey, Gareth Jones pretty much has the same thing in mind. Then we went to see a paddle court, and I found myself talking to a young Zimbabwean. I wasn't there to interview him, but when I walked away, I thought, this guy's on the same frequency. You know what? I think we were just speaking to our next general manager. So, and then I knew that pretty much Gareth Bacon would have the same thing in mind when I called him. You see what I mean? So there was a proto idea already somehow in our minds. We all knew what we did not want to do, and that led us quite neatly to what we do want to do.
I think through experience and entrepreneurship, you know, and imagination, this is what you see. You know, this is not. You know, this is not just quickly put together, build it, they will come, fill it with equipment, turn the lights on and rub your hands together. This is being well thought together through experience, through numbers, through data, through getting a return for the owners. And there is a huge niche in the gap. I think we tackled it post-COVID really well. We brought this to market in COVID, post-COVID, and the results are there to speak. And I think, you know, we even love the color purple. You can kind of see we use it a lot, we wear it a lot.
Who identified purple first?
Okay, so let me explain a little bit about how
purple.
Anything that has to do with aesthetics is actually Arada. It's our mother company because that's what Arada does. Arada's got architects, designers, interior designers, all sorts of creative people. That's what they do. So purple is not our brainchild. Although we love it because no one else does purple, you know. I've always liked it's sort of an imperial Roman kind of color. So it differentiates us, you know, there's red operators, there's yellow operators, now there's light blue operators, but there's only one purple operator.
It's taken mainly because you you said kind of how this will look really good at reception.
Yeah.
This will
Yeah.
stand out as a really good colour for the
Yeah.
reception team to kind of look
Yeah,
at, because
yeah.
it makes them so
Yeah.
noticeable. People will be attracted to them.
It's quite a royal
It's a
premium
royal
type
colour,
kind of colour, and
And
I
they say
think
that
it's a proud colour as
It
well,
is,
and I think you
it
can
is.
see that with the DNA
yeah.
of the kind of Wellfit staff, that we use the purple emoji a lot, between updates,
Yeah.
updating us all on social media or whether it's LinkedIn, but there is definitely a proudness around wearing purple that's
Yeah.
that's just naturally come.
I think psychologically purple is also a color of dominance.
Yeah,
So if let's say you identify the color purple,
Yeah.
that's your mood.
yeah,
So you're already influencing
Yeah.
people. Well, we're talking about people and customer experience. Take us through a little bit about the experience you sketched out in this gym. How did you master plan
The member experience.
the member experience? Yeah.
Mm. I think some of it is deliberate and some of it is by accident. I
Okay.
think he will answer all the deliberate stuff
Yeah.
because he was the brainchild. I mean, these
Okay.
guys were, but unintentionally I've talked about the gender balance
Yeah.
in the club, of which some is as a result of the demographic we live in, no doubt.
Yeah.
Most of the clubs that we've been to in the UAE, it's a 70-30 split male-female, 60-40 at best. Here we're almost 50-50 call it, okay? And people go, oh wow, really? And I think we've discovered that people, based on the feedback, want to work out in beautiful spaces. They want to spend time in the gym. Our average visit time, I think, is 80-85 minutes, close to 90 minutes. The average person spends in the club. They work here. They come with their kids. It's a soft environment. So I think the fact that there's a lot of lights, the artwork that you saw in the club is not sticker. An artist came in and it took ages to paint that.
Yeah.
Wow.
The colors, the accents, the level of lighting in different areas of the club is deliberate as well. But the energy and the flow and the space and the lighting, we talked about the barrister lighting, has created an environment where you'll hear this word in JVC a lot, the vibe. There's
Yes.
the vibe in the club. Everyone says the vibe. That was accidental. Now, by design, I mean, he'll tell you about why the treadmills face the way they do and why it's a
Yeah.
circle.
I mean, we wanted to cause shock and awe in a positive way, that when you walked in, because you've got that wonderful natural light, the skylights, and then the parasol ceiling that runs around the centre of the athletics area, that'll be a signature for us in all our clubs going forward. This athletics kind of functional area with rigs and powerless equipment and throw things around and have fun. That's the theatre of the club, right in the centre and the heart. That was no luck. That was sheer planning,
Yeah.
putting it together and designing it that way. I mean, and all the facilities, we wanted to create a product that you pay one price and you get it all. There's no arguing around a boutique experience, so let's charge extra for a studio, let's charge extra for kind of martial arts. This was all a pay one-stop fee
Was that
and have
decided?
access.
Was that decided instantly, or
Well,
did you go through a few
I'll tell you
experiments?
a little bit, because you remember I told you, you just identified it. We are a team that has very complementary strengths, where one is weak, the other is strong. And let me give you the most radical example of that. These two gentlemen, and the most senior being Gareth Jones, these are fitness industry insiders. You were how old? 17 when you started your journey?
Yeah.
This is a 28-year veteran of the fitness industry, right? I am not of the fitness industry at all. I come from another universe, but I have been living in gyms since I was 17, and I'm 56. And I am a master consumer. Every one of my hobbies, I've done everything from track and field and gymnastics to powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Thai boxing, everything, CrossFit, you name it. So, what am I trying to get to? I know what a gym needs to smell like, look like, feel like, and what vibe it needs to have. I know it in my bone marrow, in my DNA. When I've got a partner next to me, when I've got my COO, and he's an industry insider, and he's seen the very best operators in the world, because this is an ex-David Lloyd guy, right? He's seen the very best.
Yeah.
Well, guess what happens? You're able to sit down, because this is exactly what happened. We designed this place.
Yeah.
And we're coming from, what do I need this place to look like and feel like? Because these are all the things I love doing in the world. They're right there. And this gentleman knows exactly what needs to happen. Even, details like, where do you need to station the towels? Where's the towels going to be? All these details, when you get people that are coming from a different angle, it's so complementary that you just get it right. So a lot of what Nikesh is calling accidental isn't really accidental. It's the kind of ultimate end game that you want. You want people to come in and what you see now, I have to say, isn't accidental. This feeling of awe. You come to the second floor of a mall, a nondescript mall in humble JVC. And little do you expect that you walk in, it's like a cathedral of light. First of all, the natural light gets you, right? Where you guys walk in. And then when you see things like, give you another detail, you see kids running around and their parents waiting for them in the member lounge. That's not, if I ask you to imagine it, you might think, man, that might be a little annoying, right? What is this, a kindergarten, a creche? What is this? But it turns out it's not annoying, it's inspiring. Because these kids are growing up. Look at the prototypes, or what these guys, they're seeing. This is what adults do. This is what we're going to do. We're not going to watch Netflix all day. I'm not saying Netflix is bad, but you know what I'm saying. We deliver what we promise, which is active living.
And you look at the ninja parkour obstacle. This is Gareth's brainchild, and look how that's come alive, how it works with the martial arts. So you walk to the top of the gym and you think, I'm not going to see anything else, and all of a sudden you see another natural light glass atrium, and then you see this wonderful area underneath where kids are moving and getting stronger, and adults are equally as possible, aren't they? I mean,
it's just ultimately what sets us apart, right? That's taking the experience to the next level. I mean, we talk about gyms. Gyms is just one of the things that we offer as part of our brand, right? We consider ourselves like a mall, so it's kind of like that's what our differentiation is. A gym and studios is just one of the two things that we have within our product. So I think that's
I think the more reasons you can in this modern world now to give people an opportunity to join a club like this at a reasonable monthly rate or an annual rate, and give so much option for them to stay and use it, be studios, the gym, the athletics, signature, martial arts, yoga, HIIT, spinning, parkour, obstacle. The list goes on and on and on. Surely from a retention point of view, that's good, because you're going to keep your customers busy, active, and staying. A lot of people get bored eventually, and the new craze comes out and they move on to the next gym. We're seeing high retention rates.
Actually, that's a perfect segue with what I was going to say, because Dimitri spoke about strengths and weaknesses of the team. So Gareth and I, for example, right, we're operators. We know we can come into a club, we know how to run clubs. Dimitri, as a professor of data and ex-Microsoft guy, and Bacon as the digital, you have two of the things. One of the things that is missing and one of the things that can do better that came together at Wellfit. Now, Gareth will speak about like the machine learning, the AI, the digital, all that sort of stuff. That's enabled us to take the brand to the absolute next level. One thing I've learned from them is everything that we do needs to be deliberate. We hardly do things philosophical. We can take guesses here and there, but everything needs to make sense. That was the biggest takeaway, because most of my experience has been very instinctual. This is what our members are saying. Now we're being confronted by saying, how do you know that they're saying that? Why are they saying that? And that level, I think, has pushed us way ahead of clubs globally. No one else is doing this.
Well, that's the driver of our dormancy, right? I think at the end of last year, even the end of last month, our dormancy levels are almost at 20%. Now, I don't have an industry benchmark to measure against. I haven't been able to find one yet. But the fact that 80% of our users are actually coming to the club actively, there's a driver of the fact that what you're saying is that when we do something, it's because we're deliberately trying to solve a problem that we've identified. So
this is a great example of how I think there was a time when human was scared of technology, scared to use data, or felt like data was overwhelming. This is just a great example of how it's humanizing what's digital, and it truly is humanizing, because it's like you don't feel like you're in a digital. When I come here, I don't feel like I'm in the future or in a spaceship. I feel like I'm here to take care of myself.
Yeah.
You're right.
That's the whole point, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
member doesn't need to see what's going on underneath the bonnet.
Yeah.
You know, whereas if you kind of look at some of the platforms and softwares that we use, they're doing a lot for us.
Yeah.
You know, it's providing that sort of hyper personalized sense of belonging in the club, where we speak to you guys specifically about what you consume
Yeah.
in our mall of active living.
Yeah.
You know, we don't just tell you about a personal training program because we just communicate with everybody about
Yeah.
it, or we don't tell you about an event that we've got going on because we tell everybody about it.
Yeah.
We tell you about specific things relevant to you, your world inside our world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about, or just the final one. If this could be a bigger question. So what is the future of Wellfit? What?
Oh.
I know 2 years ago you didn't know what today would be.
Oh yeah.
But I think you did, but it probably just did not materialize. So how do you envision Wellfit to be in, let's say, 10 years?
Right.
Yeah, go for that.
We'll have dominated the UAE market by then in our segment.
Yeah.
Because remember, we're not just a gym.
Yeah.
I think I'm seeing something like maybe 5 to 7 flagship grade. This is the flagship grade, 65,000 square feet
Yeah.
plus.
Yeah.
5 to 7 flagship grade facilities in the UAE. That's probably saturation point for the UAE.
Yeah.
Regional, I think it's inevitable that we look at Saudi at some point, because Saudi quite clearly is going places. And of course, our leadership has Saudi orientation anyway. I'm talking about the leadership of Arada.
Yeah.
And then international expansion. And I'm talking westwards, and I'm talking Europe.
Nice.
So 10 years is a long time,
Yeah.
but
I mean, you guys did this in 2 years, so.
I was just going to say robots.
so that's what we're going to do or die trying. Yeah.
I think also remember that we're the first absolute homegrown brand this size. There surely is pressure. I like to say we want to be the Emirates of the fitness industry, right? We're a brand which was created here. Our business model is largely unique, created in the UAE. Our brand, even our app is developed in the UAE. Our staff are hired largely from the UAE. Everything is in the UAE. There's immense pressure for us to be successful as a national champion of fitness globally. That's where I think 10 years time we can be easily. No one is doing what we're doing, I think.
Yeah, or probably knows how, even if they wanted to, because I think it's just this, like you said, like the stars aligned, but it also aligned with all the other tools and everything else.
But we have a really busy 2023. We're just about to open our gymnastics concept, which is the other side of the mall location where we are. That's another 15,000 square foot. That'll take JVC Gym easily to the biggest mall gym location in the UAE. I think 100,000 square foot.
Wow.
That's big, because there's 2 paddle courts on the roof, and you need to go up there and have a little look at the paddle courts on the roof. And then our Meydan location, which is flagship number 2, is going through a redevelopment at the moment to make it even more better. That's a standalone location. And then in the heart of Al Jadda in Sharjah, we've got our 3rd flagship site that will open in September. That's a 60,000 square foot ellipse dome in the new heart of downtown residential Sharjah. So with Arada, they're building that on our behalf. We've designed it, developed it with Arada, and that will open in September. So there's 2 huge, with gymnastics and Madar and the Meydan. By the end of 2023, we'll have had another hugely successful year and openings and taking our portfolio to double, triple the size it is today. So that's what's keeping me awake at night and keeping us all busy, because there's people to recruit, there's kind of, there's things to design and think about and enhance that journey even further. And people that we recruit is the heart of really what we're doing. This is brought to life, JVC, where you are today, because of people, because of the PTs, the coaches, the reception, the guys in the cafe, people that you've met today. It's that genuine, authenticity of what you feel, the vibe again that you get. It's people as well as the look. It's the feel because of people.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful.
There'll also be quite a lot of technological advances within our industry
Still.
in the next 10 years.
He's never going to give up
In the
on
next
his
10
technology.
Well, they're talking bricks and mortars changing, right? And people will be walking into our clubs differently in 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, people will be paying for their memberships in different modalities through cryptocurrency, through NFTs.
Yeah.
We will be rewarding people based against their consumption of their product when they walk into the business. The training experience is going to change inside our classrooms in the next 10 years, right? There is going to be augmented reality training in leisure clubs in the next 10 years. So yes, we've got expansions to grow and expand further afield with more clubs, but in 5 or 6 years, what we're doing inside the club is going to be fundamental.
Dimitri, last words perhaps for, we'll keep this for the entrepreneurs and the business owners of gyms. What would you say would be the most life-changing principle you follow when it comes to running this business?
That's a difficult question.
I'm glad you asked it first.
Life-changing principle of running this business.
Or value.
I'll tell you something that we always say to each other and to others when describing, our industry to people who are not perhaps engaged actively with it or looking from the outside in. And it's this: it looks easy from the outside looking in. By which I mean, it looks like find facility, go shopping, here's your flooring, stick some equipment, lighting, get some people in your favorite color in there, some people with PT coaches, switch the lights on and get ready to make lots of money. That's what it looks like, but that's not where it's at. So looking under the hood, it's the process and the business model is what ultimately makes for a successful operation. So it's not an easy business. Engaging and delivering results to your members because they make or break you, right? If you're not engaging them, if you don't mean something to their lives, and ultimately, if you're not adding something to their lives, there's something, by the way, it's not easy to put a finger on. It could be social in nature. Oh, I'm making friends here. It could be aesthetic and personal and transformational in nature. Oh, I look better. My doctor says my blood panel is looking better. You know what I'm saying? My kids get to hang out with me. My wife loves me a little bit more. I look better naked, right? All these things you've got to deliver to your members. And now you're talking about how many members do we have now? About 5,000 here. Doing that consistently, really delivering to them is not easy. That would be my little pearl of wisdom.
Okay, let's go around. How about you, Nikesh? How as a general manager, what would you say you hold very strongly as a value of that is close to you?
So there's two. There's the value system in terms of people. People will always be at the center. I often describe it like this. Okay, when you run a club, it's people, patrons or our members, then process and profit. We use this as our pillars of driving the business forward. In that order, people, meaning you recruit highly independent, world-class staff to deliver exceptional service. It's easier said than done. Patrons and our members creating a world-class experience, like Bacon explained, that's very, very personalized. That also needs to be done. Process means creating an infrastructure that makes it easy for you to run the facility. That's your operational framework and your infrastructure, that's what we do. And then profit, meaning you run a sustainable operation and a responsible one. You spend where you need to spend, you drive the business where you need to drive. But in that order, I would always, and I think until I die, put people first. I think if most leaders start doing that or continue to do that, that's the key to success. We're a people business. People and our
but it's also harder than it seems.
It's very difficult, especially like here on the club. I mean, gymnastics opens will be close to 100 people in JVC, and then you talk about it, and we can talk about leading by example and recruiting the right people. It'll always be a people business, and everything that we do around that will be complementary to enabling active living, right? So that's my parting.
Great.
That's a good answer.
I will go to Gareth first and Gareth again. So let's start with you. So what would your
Yeah, I mean, I've been asked that question a few times recently, you know, particularly focusing on the member experience side of stuff, and I think that's probably quite relevant to what we're going to talk about in May. And I think, you know, we've mentioned it a couple of times earlier on, and I'm not philosophizing as well as the other gentleman did, but find a problem and use very simplistic ways of dealing with it, and don't make it too difficult. He's talking about finding good people and how to go about that, but within your business, to try and fix things and make things happen, find a specific problem, focus on that for as long as it takes, using simple ways to resolve it.
That's good. All right, Gareth.
And for me, I mean, I'm just excited about Wellfit. I mean, we're in the right place at the right time, the whole team, particularly Dimitri and I, with our passion for what we're doing, and we know what lane of the highway we're operating in. We're not going to deviate and start doing silly things, crazy things with pricing or coming out into different kind of customer markets. We know there's a huge niche for what we're developing with our communities, and we're just very fortunate we've managed to, with great backing and support from Arada, that we brought this to market. And we're on that right way forward, and we're going to continue that right way forward and keep happy and inspiring communities, and particularly juniors and children. Keep coming back to that. We talked earlier, juniors and children, they're the future. You know, creating that exercise habit and leaving that iPad at home and getting into the gym or the club and moving in whatever form that you want to do here. That makes me really happy to see that.
Over 10% of our members here are under the age of 16.
Oh, really?
And they're not coming here to do a specific Olympic style sport, they're coming here to take part in fitness specific classes. So I think
and to be honest, when I arrived here, if I didn't know Wellfit, I would think that this is I would think that this was not like an institution. Or like a school. Because I did see the boxing. It's like, okay, if I didn't know that this was what Wellfit, I would think that this is a holistic place for children and parents. And I was observing the parent that was training his kid boxing earlier, and it was just such a wonderful moment that you have with your children. I think people, especially now because they're so busy, these are the moments you cherish. So you're giving something back to them.
I'm so glad you picked up on that. You say, we all of us love that. And it's not coincidental that the members pick up on that. You know, we talk about the vibe, that's where the vibe comes from. There's a culture. We love this. We're parents, right? We
I'll
love
never forget the day I saw a whole family walking on a treadmill next to each other. Just like it was
how cool is that?
Three kids, mum and dad, all in the 5
like the
treadmills beside each
ducklings,
other.
that's what I want to see.
Family goals.
I mean, we're super passionate about that whole junior thing. I mean, I'm a dad too, and my daughter comes here quite a lot. You know, I think when you see it in action, my wife trains here, she has a trainer, all of us around the club. But imagine the message that sends my daughter back home with. She's showing her friends how to do cartwheels, and she's lifting the kettlebells I have at home. I mean, you can't put a price to stuff like this, you know.
It's very positive. For a world that's, you know, the children are basically heading into a different world. So this is their home.
Good point.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for your time.
Thanks.
I think it was really good.
Just edit me out. I'll
be finished now. I can
realize how much I stand out.
Photoshop is.
You can Photoshop this.
I don't know what he was doing. But make sure in May you tell
And it's red pants as well.
If I may.